Hello, it's Mike DeVore. I'm going to use this slideshow as a brief introduction to talk about the software we're going to use, the syllabus, the textbook, and how we're going to proceed with the course. Many of you have met me, but just because we're doing this course remotely, I thought I'd introduce myself a little bit to you. I'm the professor and the program chair for the Mechanical Engineering Technology and Welding Technology programs. I've been teaching at Cincinnati State for 30 years, and if you total everything up, I've got 40 years experience in drawing, design, and CAD. So I am pretty familiar with drawings, drawing formats, drawing techniques, as well as computer-aided design and many different aspects of engineering and design and manufacturing. I'm married. I've got 2 grown children. My daughter is actually a mechanical engineer, and I have a son who's an architect. So they both do a lot of stuff with drawings too. I'm not sure where they got that. For hobbies, I love to hike, bicycle, and also snowboard in the winter. In terms of education, I've got a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering technology from UC. I have an MBA, and then my PhD's from Indiana State. I'm also a professional engineer in Ohio. The syllabus is posted on Blackboard. Let's just go over that quickly. My contact information is on there. For the textbook, there's one textbook that covers both AutoCAD and Inventor, and it's the 2020 version. Now, some of you may have access to an older version, like a 2018, 2019. I think the book is basically the same. The assignments may be on different page numbers, though, so it may make it a little bit challenging, but you could probably get by with that if you need to. You can buy a regular hardbound textbook, or you can also get a digital textbook. Here's the ISBN numbers if you want to go on Amazon or whatever to purchase them. So we're going to do 2D drawings, 3D drawings, and also assembly modeling in this class. We'll cover a lot of material. Some people may have some drawing experience already, which is great. It's going to be very beneficial. If you haven't, though, don't worry about it. We'll start at the very beginning and build up. As far as the grades go, most of your grade is going to be based on weekly drawing assignments. That's 65% of your grade. We'll have 2 tests, which is going to be 25% of your grade. And attendance in class participation is 10%. So that'll mean getting the work done on time, participating as needed, turning in all the assignments and following the schedule. For late assignments, I'll allow for the entire semester, you're going to have 2 late assignments. You really need to stay on track with the assignments. Each week I will give you assignments and you're going to be very busy. If you fall behind, it will become very difficult for you to catch up. So please turn your assignments in on time. You'll have a week to complete them, so you really don't have any excuse there. You can have 2 late assignments during the semester. Those will be penalized 10% per day. After 2 late assignments, anything else is going to be a 0 unless you have a really good excuse, a doctor's note or something like that. And as far as tests, you have to do tests on time or have some kind of prior arrangement. Grade scale is standard, 90 to 80, 90 to 100 for an A, 80, 89 B, 70, 79 C, 60 to 69 for a D. So here's my schedule, at least my planned schedule. We may have to make adjustments as we go. If we do, I'll make very reasonable accommodations for any change. But basically, we'll spend a little bit less than half of the class covering AutoCAD, the remainder of the class covering Inventor, 2 exams. So you can think of them as like midterm and a final exam. So the procedure for the class will be like this. On Monday of each week, it'll be Monday morning, I'll post the new assignments on Blackboard. So you just have to log into my C-State and go to Blackboard and click on this class, and there'll be a content section and the assignment will be in there. So Monday morning you can check that, and then you have the entire week to do the work. So drawings are due each week by Sunday evening at midnight. So you can do them anytime you want. Just leave yourself enough time to do them. As long as I get them by Sunday at midnight, it's fine. Anything after that, it's 10% per day. So if you want to do some math, after a week, they're only going to be worth 30%. That's a low F. After 10 days, there'll be zeros. So please turn your assignments in on time. As far as how you turn assignments into me, you're going to return them to me as PDFs. Do not send me drawings or DXF files. I won't be able to open them or grade them. So we'll go over that as we start making drawings. When you send me files, there's 24 people in this class. You have to put your name on every file that you send me, or it'd be impossible for me to keep track of them. right? So you'll put like the page number, assignment number, and then your last name whenever you save a file. Just get used to that process and keep everything nice and straight. As far as textbook, most of the assignments are going to come out of the textbook, and it's a great resource. This is a really good book, and it's not that expensive. I think it's $50 in that kind of area. You can find a used one for even cheaper, and I think the digital ones are cheaper than that. So you'll get a lot of use out of this book, so you're going to have the textbook. Otherwise, before long, you're not going to be able to do the assignments without a textbook. You can get them at the bookstore. Here's the bookstore link, or you can go on to Amazon or whatever. I put the ISBN numbers on there. Hopefully that'll help you. The software that we're going to be using, and there's two pieces of software. We're going to start off with AutoCAD, doing 2D CAD, and then we'll move to Inventor for our 3D modeling. Both those pieces of software come from the Autodesk company, and they are free for students. In order to get them, you have to go to the website. Here's the link, and we'll talk about that more in depth later. You go there, you have to use your Cincinnati State email, create an account. They'll email you back with some information, and then you can go and download the software. You'll need to download AutoCAD 2020 and Inventor 2020. Don't download any other versions. If you think, aha, there's the 2021, don't download it because it won't be the same and it won't be compatible. If you have older versions on your computer, it's a good idea to delete them before you try to download the new versions to eliminate any sort of conflict there. Let's talk a little bit about drawings. Drawings are extremely important, as much or more so today than ever, because it's just such a great form of communication. You've heard that thing about picture is worth 1,000 words, and that's very, very true. So graphical communication through technical drawings is critical for designing, manufacturing products today. Everything you see, you look around and see, at some point in time there was a drawing for that. It's a very old form of communication for a very good reason. So as I said, engineering drawings are a form of communication. You can kind of think about it as maybe a foreign language, although it shouldn't be that complicated. But there are specific rules and guidelines that we want to learn so that when we are creating drawings, we're doing them properly so that we can communicate to everyone in the process. It could be to other engineers, designers, machinists, quality control people, etc. The drawing is extremely important anytime we design and build anything. There are lots of different kinds of drawings. So some people, when they hear the term drawing, they think about artwork, but that's not what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing technical drawings. So think about, this is a really good definition, graphical representation of an object, or it could be part of an object. It's the result of creative thought by an engineer or technician. So think about designing a new car or a car engine or something like that. What the thought that goes into it, the work that you want to do to create a design that works, and also that you can use the drawing that you can use to communicate to others how you're going to manufacture this, how you're going to assemble it so that it functions properly. So it's going to be the picture itself that you create, but also the other information, for example, dimensions, notes, specifications that go along with that drawing. And that's all of those are things we're going to learn to do very well in this class. There's really three different kinds of drawings that you might be involved with as an engineer. One would be a sketch. And a lot of times you do start out with a sketch to get some ideas on paper. What we're going to look at is two different kinds of CAD drawings, and that is two-dimensional drawings. So think about flat drawings. We'll do multi-view orthographic drawings using AutoCAD and get very comfortable with that process. It's still very, very useful, and it's used throughout industry today. A lot of people think that everything is a 3D model now. It is not. A majority of companies in Cincinnati do 2D work as opposed to 3D work. I'll also be creating 3D models. Two different kinds of 3D models, solid models and surface models. We'll be doing solid modeling in our class. There are dozens of different kinds of engineering software today. And in Cincinnati, there's really four main pieces of software that are used, and you're going to learn, if you take CAD 1 and CAD 2, you'll learn all of those. Those four are AutoCAD, Inventor, SolidWorks, and then NX. In this class, obviously, we've talked about this before. We'll be using AutoCAD 2020 for the 2D stuff and Inventor 2020 for 3D. I'm going to go over a few basic concepts with computer-aided design, and we'll cover these multiple times throughout the semester. CAD software is incredibly accurate. You're talking about 9 decimal places of accuracy as opposed to drawing with a pencil and paper, which would be like a 32nd of an inch. So that's 2 or 3 decimals on a good day. So in order to use the power of CAD, you need to learn how to do it properly. Some good rules to follow is we always draw full scale. With the computer screen, if something is too big, you just zoom away from it. If it's too small, you zoom in towards it, but always draw full scale. You want to learn to use the tools that are part of the software to help you draw efficiently and accurately. So some of it may seem a little different than the way you'd like for it to work, but in order to use the software, you have to follow along with the way that the software understands and accepts commands. There's a little bit of a learning curve in that part, but it'll become second nature to you. One thing I would remind you is save your work frequently, especially when you're working on big projects, because something can happen, with your computer and you get a blip and you lose your files, and if you lose them, then they're gone. You're going to have to recreate them. So make sure you save your work frequently and maybe even back them up on a flash drive or an external hard drive if you have a lot of work on your computer. And one thing to do from the beginning is try to learn good file management techniques to keep track of your drawings. So, for example, create file folders to keep your work in and those kinds of things so you always know where your drawings are at. Let's talk a little bit about downloading software. Again, the software is free. You're talking about AutoCAD I think you have to buy it. It's about $2,000. Inventor is like $3,000. So, and students are allowed to download it for free. You'll get software that's good for 1 year. So you'll get a lot of use out of it. If it does expire on you, you can always download it again as long as you're a student. You must use your Cincinnati State email address for setting up an account for all of your communication with your software. You have to use a Cincinnati State email or it will not work. When you're downloading it, you have to go through a process of creating an account and fill out some forms. They're going to ask you some questions. They're very generic questions like where do you go to school and those kinds of things. It's not personal information. You're not going to put your social security number or anything like that, but you've got to fill out the forms or you will not get the software. It takes a little bit of time. I have pretty good internet at home. It took me about a half an hour to download AutoCAD and about 45 minutes to download Inventor. And after you download them, you also have to load them on your machine, so that takes even more time. So leave yourself several hours, and hopefully you don't have any glitches or anything. I will warn you, I'm not an IT person. I'm an engineer. So I'm not very good when people have problems downloading software and they ask me. I usually am not very helpful. If you need some help, I would suggest you try Googling what's happening, or hopefully you have a friend or somebody. If you're really struggling, let me know. I'll see if I can find someone at the college, but you're a little bit on your own about that. So that's why I want you to immediately try to download your software and make sure you get that working. A little more info about downloading software because it is really critical to success in this class. Again, leave yourself plenty of time. Here's the Autodesk link. The same link, you'll have the option to download AutoCAD. So do that first, go through the entire process, and then go back to the link and download your Inventor. I was going to make some videos, but I looked online. Here's a really, really good video on how to download AutoCAD step by step. The one thing is the guy in the video said it's a 3-year license, but it's not. It's a 1-year license. So I would use that video as a guideline for Inventor. Here's a pretty good video about Inventor, but once you've been through the AutoCAD process, Inventor process is almost identical. So hopefully that will help you get through that.